Hello everyone, welcome to GR IAS Academy Daily Editorial Analysis. My name is Harish Amiti and I am presenting you the editorials from the Hindu dated 17th October 2023. So these are our topics for discussion today: delay in judicial appointments, environmental impact assessment and Indian Himalayan region, and long-term risks of artificial intelligence. So let us begin. So our first editorial for today is regarding delay in judicial appointments. So we will see how judges are being appointed in India and why is there a delay and how our editor is criticizing the delay. So first you need to understand about something called collegium in India. So this collegium is what appoints judges in India. So then you will understand how is this delay is being caused. So first understand the constitutional provision. So this collegium is not something mentioned in the constitution. So what does the constitution say? Constitution of India says in article 124, which is the article for appointment of judges, Supreme Court judges, and article 217, which is the article for appointment of High Court judges. So in this article 124 and 217, and also in another article 222, in this article 222, which is regarding the transfer of judges. In these three articles, 124, 217 and 222, in these three articles, Constitution says that it is the power of the President to appoint or transfer a judge of Supreme Court or High Court. Transfer is applicable to only High Court judges, and appointment of Supreme Court judges or High Court judges. So President should appoint or transfer a judge on the consultation with concerned Chief Justice of India or Chief Justice of High Court. Okay, so there is a procedure for consultation with judiciary, the top judges of the judiciary recommended by the Constitution in these three articles, 124, 217 and 222. So it says that President in consultation with Chief Justice of India should appoint the other judges in the Supreme Court. So it talks like that. Then after the commencement of Constitution was commenced in 1950. For a few years this was fine. Okay, there was no conflict between executive and the judiciary. But then in 1970s, because of some political developments, there is a conflict between executive and judiciary. So everyone started to assert their dominance. Okay, everyone wants power in their own hands. So executive, that means our Prime Minister and Council of Ministers wants power in their own hands. They want judges who are willing to give their favorable judgments. I mean, this is unofficial version. They say that we are the constitutional authority to appoint judges. At the same time, some judges are feeling that if we give politicians the power, there cannot be independent judiciary. They will appoint all those judges who are willing to favor them. So all the true judges, all the honest judges will not be promoted to the higher places. So that is a fear of losing the independence of judiciary. So this word consultation becoming widely debated in 1970s. Okay, so some people are arguing that this consultation means concurrence. What do we mean by concurrence? Concurrence means must agree. So when Constitution says President must consult Chief Justice of India, so some people interpret that the advice of the Chief Justice of India is binding on the President. That is what concurrence means. So some people take this interpretation. Some people say no, consultation does not mean concurrence. So President has power to reject the advice of the Chief Justice of India. Some people take this interpretation. So this is being debated in 1970s. So then something happened. First Judges case, 1981. So it is not the official name. Official name of the case will be something like that. SP Gupta versus Union of India, something like that. That is the official case. So in this SP Gupta case or the first judges case, it is also called first judges case because it is regarding the appointment and transfer of judges. So it is called first judges case. In this first judges case, 1981, Supreme Court has taken an interpretation that yes, by consultation does not mean concurrence. So the executive has the ultimate power. So Chief Justice of India can recommend some names for appointment of judges or transfer of judges in some particular courts, but it is not binding on the president. So that is what the Supreme Court interpreted in first judges case. But again the debate continued. Again the case went to Supreme Court. So this time it is something called Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, something the case name, Supreme Court Advocates on Record versus some Union of India something, and this is called second judges case. It happened in 1993. Now Supreme Court reversed its earlier decision, and this is a historical case. This is a very important case. Now Supreme Court did not agree with its earlier judgment. Now Supreme Court is saying no, consultation means concurrence. The advice given by the Chief Justice of India is binding on the President. President cannot say no, I won't accept this name. President can say please you may change this name. Okay, he can convey some objections, but he cannot disagree with the recommendations of the Chief Justice of India. So that is what the second judge's case finally conveyed or give a judgment. But in the same case, in the second judge's case, there was a doubt that how we can give this much power to a single person who is Chief Justice of India. So in this case, Supreme Court devised a system called collegium system. So when Constitution says consultation with the Chief Justice of India, it means consultation with a group of judges, a forum of judges, which we call collegium system. So what is this collegium system? Collegium system is nothing but a forum of judges, group of judges. So in the second judge's case, Supreme Court has told that there will be a collegium system which consists of Chief Justice of India and two other judges. So in second judge's case, CJI plus two other judges. This is the formation of collegium. That is the combination of collegium CJI plus 2 in second judge's case. Again the debate continued. Again another case went to Supreme Court. This time President of India referred this under Article 143. If you see the Constitution, under Article 143, if President has a legal doubt, he can refer it to the Supreme Court. Under 143, this is called advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So under 143, now President has referred it to the Supreme Court. This is called third judge's case. It is related to the same topic of collegium. Again in this case, Supreme Court has debated, heard arguments from the both sides. Then finally Supreme Court, okay, maybe 3 members are too short. This is too much power for 3 people. So it now extended the collegium system even further. Now the collegium consists of Chief Justice of India and 4 senior most judges after CJI. So CJI plus 4. In second judge's case it was CJI plus 2. In third judge's case it was CJI plus 4. So this is the evolution collegium system. Till now we are following this CJI plus 4 decided in the third judge's case 1998. So this is the evolution of collegium system. There is another fourth judge's case which we will see in the next slide. Okay, just understand the collegium system has its roots in this second and third judge's case. It is a forum of judges. So collegium system means CJI and 4 judges of the Supreme Court sits and they decide who are the judges gets appointed to the Supreme Court and who are the judges gets transferred between high courts. So they recommend it to the President of India. Then there is a formal procedure. It goes through Ministry of Law Department, Ministry of Law and Justice. So this ministry also takes the opinion of Intelligence Bureau and other intelligence agencies on that particular judge who is being recommended. So on the basis of opinions given by the Intelligence Bureau and Ministry of Law and Justice, President takes a final decision. So this is all the informal procedure. So formally it is recommended by the collegium and it is being accepted or rejected by the President. But President does not have the true power because Supreme Court has already interpreted that consultation means concurrence. He can smoothly say, please reconsider this person, but if the name has been sent again by the collegium system to the President, President is bound to accept it. So when collegium sends a name of a person first time, President may smoothly send it back. I am not willing to appoint this person as a Supreme Court judge. I am not willing to transfer this person to that particular High Court. So, President, that means when I say President, in reality it means Council of Ministers, because President is supposed to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers. So, President can smoothly ask this collegium system to reconsider. So, collegium system may reconsider it, but for the second time, if collegium system again says, no, you have to appoint this person, you have to transfer this person, then President has no choice. This is nowhere in the Constitution. It has been decided by the court. It is the evolution of Indian jurisprudence. So, it is have the equal power of law, because under the Constitution, Supreme Court has the power to interpret it. Supreme Court has the power to interpret the Constitution, and this is the interpretation of the Supreme Court. So, it is equal to the power of law. So, you cannot disagree with it, saying it is not in the Constitution. It is interpreted by the Supreme Court. So, it is like it is in the Constitution. It is not in the Constitution, but because it is interpreted by the Supreme Court in that way, it is having the same power of law. So, we have seen about the collegium system. Now understood what happened. So, in the past few years, judiciary slowly taken the power from the executive and completely kept the power in its own hands, saying that it is necessary for the independence of the judiciary. So, we need to be independent. We cannot be the toys of the politicians. So, for the sake of independence of judiciary, we are taking the whole power. That is what our judiciary has told us. But then, if you see, Indian judiciary is also facing some problems. A person who is a judge of a Supreme Court, soon he will be followed by his son as a Supreme Court judge. It happened many times. So, nepotism somewhat prevails in the Indian judiciary. So, judges are recruiting their own sons, grandsons, etc. So it is a recurring phenomenon. So, ultimately this collegium is not foolproof. It has some own issues. It is out of our discussion, but you can just read as a part of static. You will read it in Lakshmikant in polity static. So, collegium has also a lot of criticism, negative aspects. So, government has brought another law, another constitutional amendment, 99th constitutional amendment. It is called NJAC, because court is not accepting president's direct order. At the same time, collegium has also some problems. So, government tried to find something called NJAC, National Judicial Appointments Commission. NJAC, National Judicial Appointments Commission. This is the 99th Amendment Act. But again, in this NJAC, there is a significant part played by the government. So, government has devised it in such a way that government and judiciary are equal, they play equal parts. Again, judiciary said, if we give even equal weightage to you, still it is an attack on independence of judiciary. Independence of judiciary is a part of basic structure of constitution. So, you cannot make such law, you cannot take power from judiciary. So, judiciary struck down this 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. Judiciary says this 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, this NJAC Act violates the Constitution. So, now it is not valid because Supreme Court has struck it down. So, in 4th judge's case 2015, this NJAC Act or 99th Constitutional Amendment Act was nullified by Supreme Court. So, still the collegium system of the 3rd judge's case still prevails. So, this is the history of collegium system. This is the background till now. So, now let us come back to our original editorial. So, through these 4 judges cases, judiciary has taken all the power, government has no power. So, now what government is doing? Government is resorting to some kind of delaying tactics. Now, collegium sends names to president, it goes through Ministry of Law and Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice sends it to Intelligence Bureau and other intelligence agencies, cabinet ministers maybe, so Council of Ministers. So, there is a informal procedure in between. Now, government using this informal machinery delaying the appointments. So, Supreme Court, this collegium system sends 10 names. Let us say it sends 10 names. Government does not reply anything. It neither accepts, does not reject. and after next month, Supreme Court, this collegium system sends another 10 names. Now, government selectively chooses 2 members in this, whoever it is willing to appoint, and 2 members from this. Then it says appoint these 4 and reject the remaining 16. So, government is doing some kind of unspoken tactics, delaying tactics and selective choices, which are uncomfortable to the Supreme Court, because when I send the first batch of 10, you are supposed to say who you accept, who you reject. Because you are delaying too much, I am forced to send the second batch, but you are supposed to take decision for this batch first, then decision for the second batch next. But what you are doing, you are selecting some people from this, some people from this. So you are waiting for me to send the second batch. So some kind of unspoken tactics, unacceptable tactics, central government is playing. So now Supreme Court is angry on those kind of tactics. Now author also saying this kind of usage of delaying tactics is against the constitution, because whatever be the problems of collegium, it is still have the power of law. It is still an interpretation of the court of the constitution. So please do not resort to this kind of tactics. Respect the constitution and its principles. So that is what author is saying. See, here is an example. So collegium system has recommended transfer of this Chief Justice from Madras High Court to Rajasthan High Court. But government did not act for so many months, I think even years. Then ultimately he had to retire before his transfer. He retired, but still his no decision was taken on his appointment. So that is a level of delays in the appointments of judges. Because of these delays, the strength of the Supreme Court has fallen from 34 to 31. Total sanctioned strength by the Supreme Court is 34 as per the constitution, and because of the delays, the strength got dropped from 34 to 31. So what is the way forward? Now judiciary and executive has this battle from so long. Okay, it is very evident to the outside. So what we can do? So we can streamline the whole process. Something we have to bring out something that balances the wills of executive and the judiciary at the same time. It ensures the independence of the judiciary. At the same time, it works on the negatives of the collegium, such as the nepotism and everything. So there is a need to streamline the whole process of appointments of judges for the long term. Again, in Supreme Court in April 2021 has given some guidelines. Okay, you are free to reject the first time, but if I have reconsidered your judgment, we have reconsidered your judgment or your disagreement, you are not willing to appoint or transfer some judges, and you have sent the names back to us. Then we sit again, collegium sits again, and we reconsider. But for the second time, if we send back it to you again, you have to accept it within 3 to 4 weeks. You cannot delay more than 4 weeks in the second instance. So Supreme Court, through some guidelines, try to reduce this kind of delays, but still government is not adhering to it. So author is saying, despite the flaws in the collegium system, don't undermine the legal system, don't undermine the legal stance. Okay, ultimately you are disrespecting the constitution, not the judiciary. So that is what this article is about. I hope you have understood what is the collegium system and everything. So you can link this concept to our syllabus. It is directly related to Indian constitution. As I said, this basic structure, independence of judiciary is a basic structure. I hope you know what is basic structure. Cashwan and the Bharati case, 1973. Please read it. Okay, so it is directly related to Indian constitution. As I said, article 124, 217, 222. Whole case revolves around these 3 articles. Again, separation of powers. So whose power is it to appoint or transfer the judges? So whole debate is about the power. Next, how these judiciary and executive function. So all these 3 aspects of syllabus directly related to our current topic. So here is a sample question. Please practice it. Our next editorial is environmental impact assessment and Himalayan region. So basically author is talking about environmental impact assessment. So there is something called environmental impact assessment in India. We will see about that, and he is highlighting there are some flaws in it, and apart from these flaws, this environmental impact assessment ignores the very crucial region of Himalayas. Okay, Indian Himalayas are very sensitive and they need to be given some special care, which this environmental impact assessment is not giving. So because of that, we are facing so many problems. So author is focusing on that issue. Recently in Sikkim, something called glacial lake outburst flood has happened, GLOF. You will read about this in geography. So just understand that glacial lake outburst flood. So there is a lake in somewhat 17,000 feet high in the Himalayas in Sikkim. It is a result of a melting of a glacier. It is at the foot of a glacier, so it is a glacial lake. And because of some reason, high floods or rain, something, heavy rains or something, or some dam got broken or something, this lake in the upper heights, upper places of the Himalayas started flowing downwards, and the water got leaked downwards, and it flooded the whole Teesta basin. So all the areas in the Teesta basin got flooded with heavy floods. So it is a outburst flood resulted from a glacial lake. So this Teesta river basin areas got inundated with the floods, and 94 people died in Sikkim. So this is a natural disaster. Natural disaster happened in Himalayas. So author is saying there are some reasons these kind of incidents keep happening. You must have heard of these recent floods in Uttarakhand also and Himachal also. That 2013 Himalaya Uttarakhand floods we have not forgotten. They are very one of a rare kind of floods. Uttarakhand 2013, and recently Himachal also seen heavy floods. So all the Himalayan states frequently seeing very extreme events. Extreme events. So in this article, the solution to this kind of extreme events is kind of inquired, okay, not geography wise, environment wise, okay. So this article is basically related to environment. So it is imperative to assess the worthiness of any significant human endeavor. We are using this new Himalayas for tourism, for settlements, and we are our organization is very rapid without any proper planning. So there are many inherent loopholes in human model of development. Our development model having many inherent loopholes. So before doing anything, before any human endeavor, it is very important to assess the worthiness of our act. So that is what author is saying, because it is having negative consequences when it is unplanned. If you don't analyze it critically before planning, it will have negative consequences such as this happening in Himalayas. But in India, there is an act, environmental impact assessment, and it is not that we don't have any law to see that before taking any action, we have to verify this environmental, social, and economical impact. We have an act. We have an act to prevent such kind of disaster. Still, we are seeing this. What is that act? It is environmental impact assessment, EIA, environmental impact assessment. So environmental impact assessment. We have a process through which we verify the environmental, social, economical consequences of any new project in across India. So this EIA is supposed to protect any harmful projects, protect us from harmful projects. So it is a process to identify the environment, social, and economic impacts from projects before it is implemented. It is not after implementing. Before implementing, we should mandatorily conduct this environmental impact assessment. See the name, environmental impact assessment. So this basically started from under Environmental Protection Act. This environmental impact assessment actually encouraged by UNEP, United Nations Environment Protection Agency something. Okay, UNEP. This is the plan of UNEP. In India, after years of global awareness, in India, Indian government took action in 1994. So in 1994, first time environmental impact assessment notification was issued under Environmental Protection Act. So under this act, before approving any project, let's say I want to do some mining work in a sensitive area, in a forest area. I need to take EIA approval. Okay, EIA approval from the concerned authority under Ministry of Environment and Forest. Again, I want to build a big factory, big car factory somewhere. It is a very large factory. I have to take approval from that ministry under this act according to EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. So how this works? If I want to do something, I apply for the approval. I apply for the approval which is called environmental clearance, EC, environmental clearance. So there is a authority notified by the government, some approval authority, let's say Central Environment Approval Authority something. And when I approve this project, first they will decide whether state government will give approval or central government will give approval. I will explain this again in the next slide. So based on the project size, that means threshold, whether it is small or big, based on the project size and project nature, whether it is a harmful one like mining, electricity, in chemical factories, these are harmful factories. Okay, some kind of sustainable factories or no need to take this environment clearance. So first they will analyze whether I need to take environment clearance or not. If I have to take environmental clearance, I have to approve beforehand, before initiating any kind of work. I have to approve, I have to apply before the ministry and take their approval. So this EIA 1994 got modified again in 2006. This 2006 is currently invalid in usage, and again in 2020 they came up with a draft. So they are making some changes in this environmental impact assessment notification. That means the author is saying you are changing frequently, but on ground nothing is changing. So this, how this EIA work, I have already explained. They categorize the project, okay, based on the severity. Some kind of projects like mining, extraction, power generation definitely need this environmental clearance under EIA notification, and they also define threshold limits. Threshold limit means the minimum size or minimum capacity of the particular project. Small kind of factories no need to take environment clearance, but large ones need to take. So this is the procedure of the EIA. First understand that as I have explained, first they will categorize. So when you apply for a project, first they will see whether central government has to apply, state government has to apply. If it is a big project crossing between two states or large project, for example I am saying, that cannot be approved by a single state. So, and there is something called union list, state list under schedule 7. So on some things union have the power, on some things states have the power. So based on those kind of things, some projects are approved by union government alone. So those that needs to be approved by union government are categorized as projects A, and those that can be approved by states are called B category projects. Okay, among these B, there will be B1 for which environmental impact assessment is mandatory, and there are some projects for which environmental impact assessment is not mandatory, and they are called B2 category. So there are three categories basically, understand: A category, B1 category, B2 category. For A1 category, environmental impact assessment is mandatory and approval will be given by union ministry. For B1 category, environmental impact assessment is mandatory, approval given by state government. For B2, environmental impact assessment is not required. So this is the class categorization under environmental impact assessment notification 2006. Then the procedure. This is the procedure. So there are some 5 to 6 stages in the environmental impact assessment. So first understand that I have a proposal for building a large car factory, let's say in Chhattisgarh. Then I have to take approval. How I will take approval? I will go to the concerned authorities, central or state. Let's say it is state. For example, let's say it is state. I have gone to Chhattisgarh state government. Then I have applied for my application. Then they will sit, the concerned authority will sit. Then they will screen it. First of all, is it right? Whether it should be approved by state government or central government. Whether it needs EA or not. So they will screen it first. Then they will do scoping. What is scoping? They will identify the scope. That means what is the impact of this project. If whether I am doing this car project in 300 acres, that means how much of forest I'm cutting, how many animals are impacted, how many communities are getting impacted. So whether it is a large project or small project, the scope of my project will be assessed. So based on this assessment of screening and scoping, next level will be done. So then they will do this EIA, environmental impact assessment, and they will collect some data. Okay, I have to do that. I have to do that. Government, after screening and scoping, I have to approach a third party. I have to give him money. See, I am the person who applied for the approval. I am the project implementer. But I have to appoint a third party and I have to ask him, please do this environmental impact assessment for me so that I can submit this application before the government. So I will appoint a third person, I will pay him, then he will go to the location. He will gather the data, not government, not me. The third party will gather the data. It is called baseline data. Then that data will be presented to the government, and based on this data, government will assess the environmental risk. Then government see, okay, this much of damage it will done. It will cut 3 acres of forest. Okay, now that damage was assessed. Now the mitigation. So the government will think, is there any alternative? Can we build this project at any peaceful other location without cutting forest? So they will search alternatives. If alternatives are not possible, then they will see what can we do. Okay, we have to cut these 3 acres of forest. Can we plant these 3 acres of forest at other place? Can we plant trees of the same area at some other place? So some kind of mitigation measure so that the pollution gets mitigated. So screening and scoping, assessment, mitigation is done. Then after this, report will be prepared. After this process, draft EIA will be prepared. So after mitigation, draft EIA will be prepared, and this draft EIA will be shown to the local communities. Will become open to the local communities, and there will be a public hearing. So they will see this draft environmental impact assessment, and they can raise their objections in public hearing. Then after the public hearing, after hearing the local community's voice, their objections, their concerns, then the authority will take the final decision. So this is how environmental impact assessment works. And even after implementing the project, whatever the guidelines I gave based on the decision I made, the government keeps monitoring whether the project, who is implementing the project, who is constructing the project, is adhering to the government guidelines or not. They will continuously monitor. So I hope you have understood the whole EIA process. It is a part of static, but I have explained it here. So now there are some inherent flaws of EIA. Understand that current author is basically concerned about Himalayas. Indian Himalayan regions are his focus. He is just explaining EIA to understand this impact on Himalayas. So this is the whole environmental impact assessment. But there are some flaws in this whole environmental impact assessment process. And Himalayas is first of all suffering from this inherent flaws. Then Himalayas is also suffering because lack of special focus on this Himalayas. Himalayas is different from the other region. You cannot treat a plain region and a mountain region, a valley region and a mountain region in the same way. That is what the author is saying. So first of all, Himalayas is suffering from the inherent flaws of EIA. Then Himalayas is also suffering from the lack of special focus, being treated equally with the all other regions in the country. So these are the 2 points of the author. So first see the inherent flaws in the environmental impact assessment. There is no regulator at the national level. There is no regulator at the national level. Some cases are being dealt by center, some cases are being dealt by state. Again, as I said, whoever is willing to construct the project, whoever is the business person, whoever is the private property here, he has to done environmental impact assessment through a third party with his own money. Now I want to build a car project. Now I have to show the data to the government. I will appoint a third party. I will pay him. Why will he submit a report to the government against my wishes? I am paying him. I am entertaining him for so many days. So obviously, unofficially, he will be more favorable to me because government is not paying him. I am the one paying for the whole thing. Unless I am a fool, I don't submit a report in an honest way to the government against myself. So it is a very rare phenomena that environmental impact assessment shows the true data. So the data itself becoming very unreliable because of the whole system. In this Lafarge Umium mining case, in this case, Supreme Court has repeated this point that first of all, please appoint a regulator at the national level. Someone should be at the top, observing all the things and regulating all the things. You cannot just have this decentralized random system at the wheels of the private parties. So this is one flaw. This is one flaw, not having a national regulator. Second flaw is that financing by the project proponent himself. So this is the second flaw. Next, environmental impact process reacts to the proposal. So officials sit and wait till someone comes and says, I want to implement this project. But they do not sit separately and just do an estimate that how many projects this area might receive for the next 2-3 years, how many proposals we might receive in the next few years. So what can we do beforehand? So this beforehand preparedness helps in many ways, but officials are not doing this. They are only reacting, they are not being proactive. Again, this whole process does not adequately consider cumulative impact. Now, let's say take a hill area. Someone came, they said, I want to put a fertilizer factor here. Okay, government gave permission. Next year, someone came, I want to undertake mining activities 10 kilometers from here. Okay, government gave permission. And someone came, I want to do some drinking project here. Government gave permission. But see, government is seeing everything individually, case-wise. But these three things may harm the local community cumulatively. So the combined impact of these three may be different from the individual impacts of these three. So this environmental impact assessment does not deal with these things in a cumulative way. So these are the negative aspects of the environmental impact assessment.